we had to come up with a name for this podcast. And because my name is Terry David Mulligan, we decided to call it the Mulligan Stew Podcast. Even worse, there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube, and the name suggested was Terry David Mulligan. That's the title. And I have to say that every time in order to get people to go to YouTube. I got to come up with a better name. Anyway, I got a name for you. Harrison Kennedy. Harrison Kennedy was born in Canada, but his family was from the Deep South. And because of that, he knew all about racism. He knew what it looked like. He knew what it sounded like. He knew how he felt when racist remarks were sent his way, or he was judged for the color of his skin. And he's going to talk about that, actually. And I think we both agreed that he was lucky to have grown up in Canada. Well, he says so. He said it's a completely different, totally different life here. And I love it. He said we're one large community. The entire country is one large community. He was a singer, not a songwriter yet, but a singer. And Holland Dozier Holland from, Motown, the guys who wrote all the hits for Motown, did a one-off group called Chairmen of the Board. Give me just a little more time. He was the singer. He was part of the Chairman of the Board, and as such, played all the great halls, opened for all the, James Brown and Funkadelic, the Apollo, all the great stages. And he said he learned a lot from that. It did. It schooled him. Over 50 years later, he's still singing, but he's writing. He's writing his own tunes. Won a JUNO, and he's turned 80. And this new album is called Thanks for Tomorrow. This is a gathering of his friends, really, in and around Hamilton. Produced by Hamilton keyboard player Jesse O'Brien, who has also given us Colin James, Lee Harvey Osmond. And Ruthie Foster is there. Colin Linden in Nashville helped him a great deal with just direction and shaping the songs, guitar work. He's a great producer. And the bassist, John Diamond, and drummer, Gary Craig from Blackie and the Rodeo Kings, rounded it up. When you get those guys together, you got it. You have the band. And he's released this album called Thanks for Tomorrow. And it has taken off the East. They're playing it in the East, but it's gone crazy in the West, including the top 30 chart at CKUA. You have to work hard to make that top 30 chart because we have hundreds of albums that get played each week. And so he's on it. And I just want to salute him. Harrison Kennedy is our guest on the Mulligan Stew Podcast. Listen to the stories. This is really good. There's nothing I can say that is not better than what he's about to tell you. And we've got 4 tracks in here as well. Have a listen to Harrison Kennedy. First things first.
Sure.
I was having a conversation with our friend, Colin Linden in Nashville, Tennessee. And I said, any messages for Harrison? He said, the main info is send him my love, a soulful, sweet-hearted, mighty man. Love to you, Colin. There you go. There's your message.
Wow. Well, I love the guy. I've got a lot of great things, good things, and memories about him from way back when we were both young in Hamilton, Ontario. And when he was a guy working a shop fixing guitars. And then the very first guy who sent me any kind of money when I found out that I had prostate cancer, being on the stage with him and having him come to my rescue on 2 CDs and putting his heart and soul into it. So there's a long, a long history of compatibility through love and the mystery of music. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you did luck out because he's a great guy. And he's honest and he's straight up. There's no BS. He gives you the goods. He loves the blues. He loves you.
Yes.
What can you ask for,
Well, the one thing that he has, besides being intelligent and the fact that he's spent a lot of time on his craft, and he's generous. I just find him to be just a down to earth guy,
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah,
Rare.
that's first for me.
Rare friends, my friend.
Amen.
Most times when I get to the album title, it's come
Right.
from a marketing team or it's come from whatever. This one makes sense to me. I'm trying to not put my own definition into thanks for tomorrow.
That's welcome.
But basically,
Yes.
it's sort of like you wake up and say thanks for tomorrow or thanks for today.
Yeah.
Blessings, right?
Mm-hmm. To me, one of the most profound sayings in the blues is, I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
And it comes from a long history of actually believing that, with the history of my people being slaves, waking up in the morning, working from sun up to sundown. Waking up in the morning is the first gift that you get.
Sure.
Thanks for tomorrow. I don't rely too much on what happened in the past, but I'm alive today, as you are. We know what's going on. We know the suffering that's going on. And I think my job as a artist and as a singer and as a writer, and my duty is to somehow send people something that takes them out of the moment and puts them into this moment, even if it's for a short period of time, where we can all be thanks for tomorrow, today, which is the end of that sentence. And I just feel it's time to be positive about things. I mean, we really need it now. And I feel it very strongly about being positive in my music. I love the blues. I love gospel. I sang at a church when I was younger. I was a tenor. And my aunt also had a church in Detroit. We'd go to her church and then we'd go to see Aretha Franklin sing. And she also had a church here in Canada, St. Catharines. So I grew up with this gospel music and the love of the spirituality of it, and how it transferred people. People on Sunday could forget about Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get people to kind of remember that the Sunday that we used to seek is still alive and well. We can have it if we try.
There's there's a Charlie Mingus track on Mingus called "Better Get It in Your Soul."
Love him.
And it's all about going to church on a Wednesday, and it's like hand claps and stuff you wouldn't expect. Just fantastic, in a 6/4 time, changing chords, changing structure, people stepping in. I mean, that's when I started to open up for me the possibilities of what gospel and black music could be, because that's where I was.
It started from there. That's where it started.
Yep.
It started in that kind of. It started with the spirit. It started with the spirit and it went into all the genres. And I don't care if the music comes from Latvia, and no matter what it is. But our music here in Canada, United States, and what we love so much, it started from the spirit. And then it became the blues and the jazz and rock and roll and country and, folk music. Even the best people, all the best people have got that spirit about them, from Dylan, who at times they are changing. I mean, who can forget that? And even with the first tune that we put out, which was $1 million sellers, give me just a little more time, that kind of thing. So those kinds of things reach into the heart of people and stay with them with a little bit of the right melody and the groove, and the beat, and the help from other people. We're not alone, man.
I'm just looking at that. I don't know where I want to start. Actually, you know what? I know exactly where I want to start. Hold on a second. Let's start with just this incredible track. All I Need Is You, because you got Ruthie Foster picking it out just when you weren't expecting a second voice, and then you got Colin in there, Colin Linden, and the three of you are just moving forward into the wind. It's a great song.
Yeah. Well, thanks to modern technology, I was able to send her the lyrics. I actually sent her 2 or 3 tunes, and that was the one that I decided that would be the best one for us. Our voices just blend together because we've done 2 tours together, one in Europe, her and I and Eric did. And then when she came to Canada, she requested that I open for her, which I did, and 4 or 5 venues here. And we just get along great. I love her and I love the band. She's got a great band. She's got a great work ethic. When we were in Europe, we'd go downstairs to get ready to go. And Ruthie would be there waiting for us. She's ready. And trust me, man, when we got on the stage, she did her thing. I just love her. She's something that she's someone who gets a lot of love.
I got the wine, I got the time, I got the love, I'm feeling fine. I got the tickets, I'm ready to ride, side by side, all I need is you, baby. Well, that's all I need is you.
Whoa, come on, baby, let the good times roll. Life is short, love is the goal. Take your time, please don't be slow. I'm ready for you, don't you wanna go? And all I need is you.
Oh, baby.
Oh yeah, all I need is you.
Just you and I, let's have some fun. Put the blues on the run. 2 hearts beating, steady on the one. Oh, baby, come on, let's get it done. All I need is you. Oh, baby, I said, all I need is you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm talking to Harrison Kennedy. I need to know, being a person of color, when did you become aware that there were
Of the blues.
of who you were, what you were, the life in front of you, your family, your friends? What? Tell me what was going on
I've had a couple of experiences that was, our minds are like sponges, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I had this kind of intellectualized foreknowledge of being a person of color. The very first instance I had, I was very, very happy to be asked to read from this book when I was in grade 1. I was in a special class and I could read. I remember in kindergarten seeing all the alphabet across the ceiling, well, actually the top of the blackboard. And I asked the teacher why the letters were so big. She says, well, we're going to learn them. I said, well, it's the alphabet. It's A, B, C, D, F. She says, you know that already? How do you know that? I I didn't know how I knew it, but I knew it. But anyway, I felt very proud of the fact. She said, Harrison, you read this little chapter and bring it back to tomorrow at school, and you can read it to the class. Now, I didn't know that my mother's response to what she asked me to read. I was hurt by her response and a little bit angered because I was only 5 or 6 years old. And she said, you're not reading this book. And I didn't understand why. She said, you're coming with me tomorrow. So I came up to the school, and I was not understanding why she's angry. And it's not a good thing when your mother gets angry. And she said, this book, Little Black Sambo, is not going to be read by my son.
Wow.
And she had it taken out of the school. I thought, he just runs around a tree and turns into butter. She said, no, he doesn't. Ever. You're never going to read that. And then I thought about that was my first instance. My second instance on it was pointed out to me when I was in high school. I was getting on a bus, and I was with all my friends. Let's see, there was a guy who was an Irishman, another one who was from Serbia, a Scot, and all white guys, right? I get on the bus, and next thing I know, they got this guy pinned up against the wall. I say, hey, what the hell's the matter with you guys? What the hell are you doing? You don't have to take that crap, Harrison. I said, what crap? And the guy made a statement and said, why there's black guys getting on the bus in front of all of you guys? Well, they were my school buddies. And they grabbed him and had him up against the wall and wanted to beat the shit out of him. I had to stop him to do it. And I thought, geez, okay. Yeah, there were people like that. I guess the guy was from the United States, right? And he says, well, we don't put up with that shit down there. And the guys, and I said, you better go. I said, these guys are going to beat the shit out of you, especially the Irishman, because he's really pissed off. So those are the things. And plus, of course, I travel a lot in the United States. And when I was younger, I didn't really realize we were going to another country.
Yeah. You
just would go across the border. The longer I sat in the car, the more I realized, of course, my butt was getting sore because we were going down to Alabama. I have relatives all through the United States, and a lot of them now are in Detroit. Most of them are in Hamilton here because they moved up here in the 1800s. But I still have a lot of relatives down there, and we stay in touch. But I remember traveling, and I looking out the window one time, and I saw all these guys on the side of the road, all dressed the same, and they were singing. And it was a guy on a horse with a rifle. And I just kept that in my mind. I never questioned anything because as a youth, it wasn't respected if you asked too many questions, kind of thing. But I thought about them. These are the things that I saw and reflected on. I think the age of reflection for me was probably when I was about 12, going into high school. And that's when I started thinking about what the hell's going on. What did that mean? Where was that coming from? All that kind of stuff. So it was an ongoing thing. Of course, I heard things all along in the church. I heard the elders speak. Like one of my cousins was captured by the Nazis, and with his troop, they got lost, and evidently got captured by the Nazis. And the officer that captured him had a woman with him, and wanted him to come in the back into the woods to see if he had a tail, because the woman that was with him said they heard that all black people have tails. Yeah, this was a guy that was fighting for our country. Yeah. So it's all kinds of things like that over the years, and geez, I could just go on and on and on about that. But then again, there's a lot of good things that happened as well. But as far as people being rude, mean-spirited, it happened a lot. It still does. But I'm sorry. If I haven't done the crime, I'm not doing the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. This is the skin I'm in. This is me.
Exactly.
Well, hell.
You lost me, baby. You done lost your sweet taste, man. You lost me, baby. You done lost your sweet taste, man. That's all right. taste man. You lost me, baby. You done lost your sweet taste man. But you can call me when you want a good loving man again.
Have you been following the play that you've been getting out west, particularly in Alberta on CKUA radio?
Man, let me tell you something. I am really looking. I love, you know, out there, the West has been better for me than any other province in Canada. You know, I played all the places out there. And I certainly, as a matter of fact, I've used Cindy, who she's another, you're talking about people that I care for a lot. She wrote liner notes for me, you know, and spot on. You know, it's another person that's for real, you know. Everybody on this album is, even the guys that I use are actually, some of them live out west, you know, like John Diamond and the guys that I use. These are just pros, professional dudes, put their heart and soul into it.
Gary Craig, John Diamond, what a great band you had in the studio with you. Got
Oh,
Colin,
man,
of
I'm telling
course.
you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Jesse O'Brien, he's from town here.
Yep. Yeah, great producer. And these are all your tunes.
Yeah.
How old are some of these songs?
Well, Jesse and I started working on them in the basement in his house about 3 years ago.
So they're fresh.
Yeah. They're fresher than me. And yeah, we would go down and what I would do is I say, here, I got this tune. And then I would sing it. And then he'd say, okay, record it. And then he'd put music to it. And then we'd listen to the music and just go on that way.
They say you shouldn't live in the past. That's a place that you can't go back to. If the day is dark and gray, only love can make a better day for you. Reason I'm feeling this way, you come along and chase the blues away. Now I've got a future, and that is why I say thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for tomorrow. Today, darling, this is the one I've been dreaming of. All of my hopes, baby, what I've been waiting for. This heart of mine is an open door. I just wanna say once more, thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for tomorrow. Thanks for tomorrow. Today.
Do you know Dawn Pemberton? Have you met her?
I don't believe so.
Wonderful singer. Wonderful singer. She does a show on CKUA and is now starting to co-host the Top 30 Countdown every Friday. You're on it.
Oh, you know what? The last time I was out there, the guy that chauffeured me around was the station owner. I didn't even know that until after Andrew points says, yeah, he owns the station. I said, you're kidding. He picks us up, driving me to the gig.
But you know, CKUA is donor supported almost 100 years now.
I didn't know that.
The show in front of me is Holger Peterson's blues show, his first blues show.
You're talking about another guy that I really care a lot about.
There you go. He's been doing that show almost 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless these guys that are still, got whatever.
I was just
it's the support.
I was just trying to find your current spot. Apparently I can't tell you. It's embargoed. I can't tell you where you are in the top 30. You hang in there. Hang in.
4 months, man. It's been out for 4 months. And the last week I looked, I was number 1 in Canada. And a lot of it, I think, has got to do with what's happening out west, I'm looking forward to playing back out there again, man.
Well, when are you coming?
I'm waiting for him to ask. I'm doing my best. I'm making the best music that I can, and I'm putting in for JUNO. I'm putting it in for, American awards. I'm putting it in for Grammy, Maple Blues Awards. I'm just trying my best to get back out there, and on whatever way they want it, a solo, duo, band, Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you what else I'm playing besides All I Need Is You.
What's that?
I'm playing Thanks for Tomorrow title with Colin. I'm playing Crazy Love, the cover. I'm playing Memphis Trippin' with Colin. I'm playing Cranky Woman with Colin. I'm playing You Lost Me with Colin. I just like I like the electricity. I like the tightness of your groove. Tell me about you tell me a song that you want to talk about.
Well, the tune on their Women.
Yeah.
Every tune on there means something to me. Because I look at the way I do the blues. I use the genre of soul, of course, and the blues. But I like to talk about what's happening today and how it's affecting people. I was brought up with by 5 women. My great-grandmother, who was the boss.
Wow.
My grandmother, my mother, and her 2 sisters. I learned a lot of things from them. There was no man around, but they were my teachers. For instance, one day on a Saturday, I was still in bed and it was 10:30. My mom walked into the room. Now, my name was Harrison. She named me, but she called me Harry.
Yeah.
Most of my friends called me Harry, but when my mom called me Harry at another meeting, she said, Harry, are you sick? And I thought, no, I'm not sick. I'm 12 years old, of course, and full of piss and vinegar. And I said, no, I'm not sick. She said, well, you're still in bed at 10:30. And I said, yeah, well, I worked really hard in school all week. I'm getting A's and everything, so I'm relaxing. She said, oh, are you? She said, do you know how far the market is from here? I said, I wonder why she's asking me a math question. I'm trying to rest. I said, Mom, it's about 2 miles. Why? She said, well, I just came back. We don't have a car. I said, I know. She said, well, I just came back there carrying 2 bags of groceries. And I'm going to finish up your laundry for you and your 2 brothers. Then I'm going to start supper. I'm going to count to 5 and you're going to get up. She looked at me. She said, 4. Man, let me tell you something. If that was a high jump, I just won the world's record because I got up out of that bed. And she said, son, I'm going to tell you something. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. I never forgot that. A lot to me is like, I've been fortunate enough. I think what I take out of a situation is I always look for the best things. Yeah. And a lot of times they're not the best things, but I can sing about them. When I was in university, I took a double major in chemistry and in English. I took English because I wanted to study Chaucer. I took Chaucer because of the Canterbury Tales. the Canterbury Tales, to me, are an awful lot like blues. This man traveled from one end of the country to the next and told stories about what he saw, who he saw, what was going on. To me, that's the blues. Or he said it in an English way and also in a language was very tough to read.
The blues is the truth.
Yeah.
How about that?
Absolutely.
It's about.
If it's not the truth,
it's about.
And the people, the downside of that is that you can tell the truth. It can be the truth, but it's not the truth just because you're saying it.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it, it's got to be felt. It's got to be someplace you're coming from. You know, it's got nothing to do with the color of your skin. But if you don't feel it, you're just dealing up some words like they're doing with a lot of pop music right now. You know.
Yeah. They all. You know what? I got it. I just had that thought this morning. They all sound like a Pepsi commercial. They all sound like they're selling something for 30 seconds. That's it. Just hang in for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, we'll just keep singing this same phrase over and over again, like you're in a stadium. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about Lives Lived, which is maybe comes back to the title track.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one was about women.
Yeah.
It was women. Yeah. Women know right from wrong. See something they want, it's almost gone. You know, that kind of thing. They want freedom and respect too. You know, it's that kind of thing. So that's why I sang that song. That's the one that probably meant a lot to me because of being brought up by my mom, who worked so hard to try to keep us together. She passed away about 7 years ago. It was her that used to call me downstairs when I was in bed, young. And she said, Harrison, come downstairs. Now, we were bootleggers. Duke Ellington was in my house, Dakota Staten, Billie Holiday, and, oh God, just goes on and on. And she'd say to me, can you sing that song for me that I like? And I had no idea what song she was talking about because I just didn't have any songs. I could sing, but I didn't have any songs. So I made up a song with my Uncle Clifford, who was sitting on the couch, and he had kind of nodded off with his cigarette. Was still going. So I sang a song. There's Uncle Clifford sitting on the couch. He doesn't know his cigarette's gone out. He's dripping his ashes all over the floor. And everybody just started laughing and everything. Filled my hands up with quarters. And Mom, she said, okay, son, go to bed. So that was the first song that I ever wrote. So I blame her.
Is Thanks for Tomorrow better than Bittersweet? Is it better than Skin I'm In?
You know what? I think it's the best thing that I've done.
It is the best thing you've done. I'm glad you said that because
that's a consensus of opinion. It's mine too.
Yep.
Yeah. You know why? Because it's the first time that I dared to sing all the genres that I feel comfortable in. Yeah. Everything from rock and roll to blues to country to soul to ballads. I'm believable in all of those songs if I find the right one. But like the second song on the album, I thought, I think Taj Mahal would like this one. It's kind of got that country groove feel to it, Very simple, 3 chords. And the other one is I'm Doomed. I started writing that, and I was just singing when I played the guitar on that one, and I was just thinking of Spanish, And the reason why it's Doomed is because that's what my sweetheart's father said to me when I asked him if he minded me moving in with his daughter. And after he said, you see that up there, lad? He's a Scotsman. Everybody had gone out of the room. Now I'm just nearby myself. And I said, yeah, I can see that up there. He said, you know what it is? And I said, so I'm showing my intelligence again. I said, that's called a catwalk. He says, no, he says, you see what's on it? I said, it looks like alcohol. He says, it's scotch, for God's sake. I said, well, I don't drink scotch. I don't know. Grab it, bring it down. So I brought it down, put us a wee dram. A dram. Now, I knew the measurement of a dram, but I didn't know where the hell I was going to find a dram. And then he pointed out these 2 little glasses there that were sitting there. That's a dram. He said, bring them over that. So I brought them over. And he poured. He said, you see where it goes? And I said, yeah. So we toasted. He says, so what is it you want to tell me, lad? And I said, well, Diana and I were thinking of, becoming a couple, being together forever. He says, pour us another. So I poured us another, and he said, you're doomed. Well, I tell you, man, I didn't know whether the shit fly or what to do when he said that. But we've had a great, it's been great ever since. He's just down to earth guy for real again, I'm doomed. So I wrote that song, Doomed. First time I saw you, didn't stand a chance.
What's the best song you ever wrote? Or is it yet to come? Or is it yet to come?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't feel, honestly, I'll admit, I feel that this album is the best album I've done, but I haven't put out the best song yet.
All right.
That's going to have to depend on people. Sure. I think that's going to have to depend on people.
Well, that's all in front. Harry, that's all in front of you. That's all in front of you. That's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm trying.
If you could listen, we are a station, CKUA, that plays everything. We play everything. Whoever's sitting in the chair is a specialist at what they're playing. That's their life. And so if that's hundreds of albums in a week, you get to make the top 30. You're in there. You're in the mix, and we can. So we all are playing your music from different directions. It's just it's a tough road to hold that top 30, and you're there, and you're sticking there. You're staying. It's not a come and go. It's not a drive through.
Yeah. Well, what it is to me is humbling. I grew up in a tough neighborhood with a tough life. And it was difficult for me to say thank you or to feel humble. But the older I've got, of course, my stepfather had told me one time, he says, the older you get, the smarter I'm going to get. He's right again. And I find it, my mother told me about manners being powerful. But it's one thing to know how to use manners, but it's another thing to have the feeling of humility behind it. And I feel that way right now with what's happening for me all across the country with this music. And I feel that way also just in life. I feel humbled by the fact that I'm here. We both had people that we love pass on. The hardest part I have with, because when you're a logical thinker and you like to think things out, and you finally run up against something that you can't ever think out, there's no logic to it, it happens, and you just have to accept it. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're an individual who all your life you're taught to figure things out, to work things out, to think about it. This is something that can't be. So I accept that now about life. I like to see it as it is. Accept it as it is. But I'm not into being that judgmental. It don't have to be judgment. If I see something's wrong, it's wrong. But without me going to join the thing or carrying a flag or saying F2Do or putting the Canadian flag upside down with an American flag beside it. No. I lost uncles in the Second World War, man. I'm not going to go there. And to me, that is just wrong. I see it, I look at it, and that's wrong. I'm not going to have a debate about it. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And if a person wants to think it's right, that's their karma, not mine.
It begs the question.
Yeah.
It's just a border, but look at the difference.
Exactly.
Look at
the
life you can make for yourself here.
Yes, I know. Boy, that was a hell of a smart move. My ancestors came up here with First Nations people.
Yep.
And they showed them the way. It wasn't the Underground Railway. It was all the rivers and everything, because they knew because they were slaves too. So I understand. And when they came up, because a lot of First Nations people were incarcerated, taken off the land and stuff like that, and they had black people that were with them. And so I've come to understand. I actually can speak a little bit of Mohawk because I spent a lot of times in my neighborhood. It was everything: Mohawk, Iroquois, Mississauga, Irish, Scottish, Latin, Ukrainian. My best friend was a Ukrainian. I used to go over here, but I used to go over his place and eat more petaha and pierogies, and they treated me like I was one of them. Like it was just amazing, man. It's Canada. It's Canada, Great. It's just one neighborhood for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Great.
But I can't dance. 2 left feet and bad knees. Ain't real good at math, but I get by enough to know who's cheating me. Can't run too fast, but I can slip and slide. Ladies know what I mean. Well, I keep trying that golden rule. Broke that one a few times too. I got a woman, she's old school. Loving her, the easy thing I do. I like to read, don't cook very much. My friends know what I mean. Live life on the road, but when I get back, she's always waiting with a smile for me. I got a woman, she's old school. Loving her, thing I do. She's my kind of woman, sweet and cool. Loving her is the easiest thing I do. I don't need a cell or a computer screen. She takes me back to the way to be. I got a woman, she's old school. Loving her, the easiest thing I do. It's my kind of woman, sweet and cool. Loving her, the easiest thing I do.
What you've done is you've got, as Charlie Mingus played and said, better get it in your soul. You've got it in your soul. You have us in your soul, and we're lucky to have you.
It's good to be had, brother.
All right, you're making music now. I know that you have a guitar off to your left, my right. I don't know that it's tuned, but could you leave us with a tune?
I don't know if you can hear that. One scotch, one bourbon, one beer. One scotch, one bourbon, one beer. Oh, please, Mr. Bartender, listen here. I don't want no trouble. You can have no fear. I want a scotch. I want a bourbon. I want a beer. I should, but my guitar is right there. My mandolin and my banjo. I love you because you've been so good. You've been so good to me today. Whoa, I love you because you've been so good to me. Oh, Lord, and let me tell you that it really makes me happy. Oh, thank God for your partner. You're something else. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, I think you're something else. Oh, you got me on the Zoom. Thank you for making some room. Oh, Lord. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I love what you're doing.
Goodbye.
Oh, zoom, zoom, zoom. Let me tell you, I love what you're doing. And I want to thank you for making this room.
Yeah. Yes.
See you later, brother.
Thanks. Cheers. Come
the new
west. Come west, young man. Come west.
I'm trying.
Do
Okay,
it.
buddy.
Thank you. Harrison Kennedy is his name. The album is Thanks for Tomorrow. Coming up on the Mulligan Stew podcast, Early James, Tara McGuire, who was a mother, lost her son to overdose. And it's a book called Holden, After and Before. It took me a while to come to grips with it and then deal with the interview. I hope you enjoy it. Susan Tedeschi Trucks Band, is going to come back and tell us about, they've released 4 albums this summer. We talked about the first 2. Now we're going to talk about the third and fourth albums and the whole package and the effect it had on them and us. There's a documentary about Doug and the Slugs. If you're not from Canada, you might not know Doug and the Slugs, but they were just fabulous. This documentary was launched in Toronto and is working its way across the country. We're going to remember Doug Bennett and Doug and the Slugs. A 2-part interview with the last DJ, Red Robinson, is coming your way. This is the Mulligan Stew podcast. It would be appreciated if you would consider subscribing to our podcast, and it will automatically come to you each and every week. And check out the video channel, the YouTube video channel called Terry David Mulligan. All of these interviews that we're doing can be seen on color television. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.